Thanks to Chad from A Gentleman's Journey, I've been tagged. What's up, everybody? This is Joshua from the channel Sense. As always, to my loyal subscribers, welcome back. And to all my new people watching, thank you. So this is gonna be a tag video. I don't know if you're familiar with these. Most of you who are watching probably are. And what these are is various YouTube reviewers in the community will, in a sense, tag someone. They will mention a fragrance reviewer and then give them a list of questions that they will answer previously and challenge them to answer them. So I'm gonna go ahead and get through these as fast as I possibly can, guys, but I think you're gonna enjoy it. So question number one is, what was my very first bottle? Classic match polo green. My dad rocked polo green and I wanted to be him so bad that he decided to give me my own bottle. So of course he wasn't gonna buy a 7 or 8 year old a bottle of polo green. I got a bottle of classic match polo green. And let me tell you, first and second grade, I thought I was the man, walking around class smelling like polo green. Little did I know, I smelled like a 35-year-old man. Anyway, guys, so for my first question, it's gonna be classic match polo green. So when I was in high school, the popular fragrance to rock that everybody had on was Curve. I mean, if you walked around any high school at that time, everyone had Doc Marten boots, Fossil watches, and they were drenched in Curve. So me being me, I wanted to be different. Not too different, but different. So I rocked Curve Crush. I still have this bottle. I bought this for next to nothing for nostalgic reasons. Yeah, it smells pretty good. Clean, out of the shower kind of smell. Of course it's cheap, of course it's synthetic. But when I was in high school, fellas, it got the job done. That's Curve Crush. So before I answer the next question, fellas, I must preface with, I'm not the biggest niche head. Got 3 or 4 niche fragrances. Most of them are Creeds and a couple decants of some Parfums de Mali stuff. Really like Habden though. The very first niche that I ever had was not a bottle, but it was a decant and it was Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. Great stuff. My wife hates it. That's why if you look, it's half full and I've had it for quite some time. Super sophisticated, I really enjoy it, but I'm not much of a niche collector. So for me, I dabble more in designers, but yeah, super uneventful, guys. Tom Ford's Tuscan Leather. So I've had many memorable compliments. I'm pretty sure everyone has. I can't really remember the very first one. I think I'll just go with my most memorable compliment. And my most memorable compliment would be when I first met my wife and we were sitting on some steps outside of her apartment at the time, or house rather. She was a college kid and she smelt me and she was like, "What is that you got on?" And I told her it was Versace Men Fraîche. She loved it. She thought I smelled fantastic. So I did what any guy would do. After about 3 or 4 hours of visiting, I went to plug my phone in to charge in my car and did one of these to refresh. So after sitting down, she was like, "Man, that stuff really lasts a long time. You smell fantastic." Little did she know, I reapplied. But anyway, guys, my most memorable compliment would be from Versace Man Fraîche. So for my most negative feedback, I couldn't decide between two, so I'll share both of them with you. Number one would easily be Midnight in Paris. Number two would easily be Amawage's Reflection Man. Here in the South, people are a little more picky, I guess, about your fragrances, and it's a little more mainstream driven. Let me just tell you about both experiences. I wore Midnight in Paris, went to a family get together, and I was told that I smelled like I went to an old folks home and had relations with about 45 different old women. That's what I was told. I was told that I smelled like I rubbed an old lady's yarn ball all over my body, or I wore a muumuu for 4 hours, drenched in Mama perfume, and then came over. I know that sounds ridiculous and way over the top. That's almost spot on what I was told. For Amouage Reflection Man, I was told that I smelled like a 57-year-old barber. I smelled like that old man who constantly presses that button up and down because his chair's old as dirt and it sinks down. That barber who has the fresh slick back hair, who has the big blue container that he sinks his scissors and his comb in, who comb cuts your hair and just smells like an old man. I was also told later on that I smelled like an elderly man from a church, preferably a Catholic one, but I felt like that wasn't nearly as bad as an elderly barber. So guys, for my negative feedback, it would have to be on Midnight in Paris and Amouage Reflection Man. So for the very first video that I ever watched was Jeremy's take on the cheapest and sexiest men fragrances. I literally got on YouTube, not knowing anything about the fragrance community, and typed in cheapest men's fragrances, and boom, there came Jeremy. He went over 24 Gold and a few others. That one stays in my mind. A lot of the ones that he mentioned, I looked up, they weren't very cheap, but I guess at the time for Jeremy, those things were cheap. But anyway, guys, my very first video I ever watched was from Jeremy Fragrance. So my very first fragrance love would have to be Clinique Happy for Men. When I was in high school and I pushed the curves and the geos of the world away, I decided I wanted to blaze my own path and smell different than every other guy at school. I decided to pick up Clinique Happy for Men. It's a great fragrance. I currently don't own a bottle. I'm gonna wait till next summer to pick one up. It's relatively cheap, guys. It wasn't cheap back then, but it's pretty cheap now. I think it's the best orange-based designer scent. I think it's better than Terre de Hermes, which I think smells like rotten dirt and oranges. Just my opinion, but definitely my first fragrance love would have to be Clinique Happy for Men. So my next question is supposed to be, what was my very first fragrance hate? But the question following that question is gonna be, what was my very first blind buy? Ironically, I've made tons of blind buys later, but the very first one was horrible. Thallium. This stuff, to me, oh God, it's so bad. It's so bad. Imitsu talked about this. Frag Boy Stewie talked this up a lot for Stewie. You know you did. Man, I hate this stuff. It smells horrible to me. I would not recommend it. If I could, I'd throw it away, but I keep it to constantly remember that every time I make a blind buy purchase, it could end up to be thallium. Guys, blind buy with care. Be careful, guys. My worst blind buy and my first fragrance hate are both thallium. All right, guys, we finally made it to the end. Thank you so much for sticking it through. It's been a long journey. The very last question is what is my most guiltiest fragrance pleasure? I just recently watched a video from the channel The Fragrance Apprentice. His name's George. He just put out a couple videos that are literally part of a 6-part series, basically a movie about fragrances. It's freaking cool as hell. The very first one was posed as a review for this fragrance, and I thought I was getting trolled because it's widely polarized in the fragrance community and most often hated. The fragrance that I'm talking about is none other than Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. Yes, I know I'm gonna get some hate. I'm gonna get some thumb downs for this. Please don't do that. I love this stuff. I've tried to hate it. I've tried not to like it. But I watched the video from George and he's talking about it. I'm like, all right, here it comes. He's gonna say, you've all been trolled, you're idiots, this stuff is garbage. But no, the man legitimately liked it. And then on top of that, when I thought I was being trolled, it cut and it started off into this movie. And I'm thinking, dude, this dude trolled me so hard. Am I getting rickrolled? I mean, is it about to cue? And then the movie started. So then I realized quickly that yes, he does love 1 Million, which put me in such a positive mood because I knew I wasn't alone. And then the movie happened. My most guiltiest pleasure is none other than Paco Rabanne's 1 Million. All right, guys, that does it for me. I'm gonna go ahead and tag 3 fragrance reviewers to go ahead and do this also. I'm gonna tag a newbie, I'm gonna tag a veteran, and I'm gonna tag an OG. OG is original gangster, somebody who's been around the block for a while, everyone knows him, and most people love him. That's gonna be you, Cody, from the channel Dracdoc. I know you probably have a busy schedule because you tend to pump out videos like crazy, but I hope you get to it and I hope you enjoy doing this. The next person I'm gonna go ahead and tag is gonna be a guy that actually is one of the people who are most inspired me as a reviewer because of his originality and because of his take on fragrances, and he tends to cover things that not a lot of people talk about, even though he made me buy Jessica Simpson's Fancy Nights, which I think smells atrocious. I'm gonna go ahead and tag Imitsu from Simply Put Sense. And then lastly, I'm gonna go ahead and tag Henry from the channel Classy Scents. He's a new guy. He's at about 2,000 subscribers or so, but he's a good guy. He's got a big heart and he loves fragrances. And we talk on almost a daily basis, and I definitely think that everybody should get to know him, guys. All right, guys, so I'll see y'all on the next video. Go ahead, like this video, share this video, leave some comments below, and make sure to subscribe and tell everybody about me. Hopefully everybody can enjoy me as much as I hope you have, and I'll smell you later, guys. Peace.